Mesdames et messieurs,
The greatest festival of our contemporary society, the Olympic Games, is about to begin.
This is gonna be close.
Oh! They're all completely gassed! They've given it everything on the global bucket! Oh, yeah! Go! Oh!
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. But that is an Olympic championship.
Ready?
Hello and welcome to another episode of Keep the Flame Alive, the podcast for fans of the Olympics and Paralympics. If you love the games, we are the show for you. I am your host, Jill Jaracz, joined as always by my lovely co-host, Alison Brown. Alison, hello, how are you?
I am intrigued by the note you left on our show sheet.
So, you know how you're getting a ton of information from a lot of different places all at once, and you could barely sort out in your brain what you're supposed to do in a given day? Which was like every day at Paris 2024.
I was going to say that's like every day of my life. But yes,
Okay.
especially at Paris 2024, we did not see anything outside our little bubble. It's like the world could have collapsed and we would have no clue because there was just so much going on all the time.
And that would have, if the world had collapsed, I would have thought, okay, can I get to track cycling? That's what I would have said.
Does that mean that the bus will still run out to rowing?
But okay, my sister-in-law went, Charlotte, and she had told me some of the things she was going to. She had a whole bunch of tickets for stuff, and I knew she was seeing beach volleyball. That was cemented in my brain. And I knew she had soccer tickets, football tickets. I just didn't know what they were, and it was far out. You know, I just equated football in my brain to it is far away because all the venues were scattered, except for the one that was kind of in Paris.
Right. But even
And
that was far from anything where we were going to be. It
yes,
was kind of
pretty
off by
much.
itself.
Yeah. So we were all together on Saturday and we were talking about Paris. And she said, oh, yeah, this is kind of like when I was at my soccer match, it was France, Argentina. And I went, wait a second. You were at the France, Argentina match where the fight broke out afterwards? A year later, I am comprehending what she saw.
Yeah, and it was so funny because when Charlotte was in Paris, I remember you saying to me, "Oh, Charlotte is doing this," but you saw her, but I never saw her. And
Yeah.
it was like this is all happening, over here, and it's the same thing. Like I never managed to meet up with any of the listeners, even though we were at events together. It was like we just couldn't keep track of everything. So it doesn't surprise me that this has taken a year to come to the fore.
Not only was she at the match, she was in the enclave of Argentinian fans who were there and was somewhat near to the fight, as in on the video I saw on her phone, you could see faces of the players. She was that close.
Wow.
And she said when this fight started breaking out and all these security people came and made a little wallish around the enclave of fans, and she realized, oh, so while she's videoing what's going on too. So she's got some of the fight on video, and she realizes maybe I should leave because this might not end well. And she goes to leave, and the guards are blocking the stairways because they don't want people to leave and the fight spill out into the streets and into the trains and into everything. And she's like, uh-oh. And then tried to talk with the security guard a little bit. And he realized pretty quickly she's there by herself and is not part of the action. And he's like, quick, duck behind me. And yeah, because he
what a
was not
nice
supposed to
man.
let her. Yes, he was not supposed to let her out. So she ducked behind him, skedaddled to the train station, and they're trying to pay, and everybody in the train station's like, just go through the gate, get on the train, get out of here. It was amazing.
So often that status of I am a poor little American woman of a certain age and Charlotte is one of us in that situation. And yeah, they realize like, oh, you're not supposed to be here. This is not for you.
Yes. So, yeah, I was just like, wait, what a second. We got no report. And we talked about it on the show. That was one of the few things we did talk about in terms of soccer. But boy, was that a story to find out.
Well, I'm glad that the story we heard from Charlotte is a year later because it was fine and
Yes.
nothing happened. And that in the end, that ended up not being as bad as it could have been. I mean, that
Very
could have
true.
been one of those infamous football riots.
Yes,
And
very
that
much so.
didn't
And
happen.
yes, and boy, oh boy, we'll see what happens with the World Cup next year because that's if they match up again, that could. I would not be surprised if people held grudges.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Let's
But
talk about
yeah.
much more well-behaved people. Can you imagine Luge fans like breaking out in a riot?
Slide. No, they. You know what? You know what an unruly luge fan would do? They would jump over the barrier and slide down the track. That's
could
what they would start
Throw
doing.
sleds at each other. I mean, this could get wild. Somebody was telling me about a luge cocktail that like you light on fire.
Ooh.
So
Whoa,
yeah,
something.
so get those flying.
And I would think that the very serious issue with luge hooligans would be the gloves.
Yeah, you got spiked gloves and you have spikes on the bobsled feet.
Right?
Sliding hooligans could really do some damage.
Well, let's just hope that doesn't become an actual thing. Can you imagine all those poor sliding sports? Like, we don't have enough problems. Now we got hooligans. Thanks, Jill and Alison.
We do what we can for the smaller sports to get more attention.
All right. We are today. It's back to school time. At
Speaking
least
of
in the US.
hooligans.
Yes, exactly. It's back to school time. So we are talking how elite athletes get some advanced schooling. Today we're speaking with Ashley Farquharson, who is a luger, and she is a 3-time World Cup relay medalist. At Beijing 2022, she finished 12th in singles and 7th in the team relay. She is gearing up to qualify for Milano-Cortina 2026, but she has also gone back to school. She is a student at Purdue Global, which is part of the 5-year partnership between Guild and Team USA's Learning Network to provide free college education to Team USA athletes. Ashley is partway through earning her bachelor's degree in business, and she told us all about it. Take a listen. Ashley, thank you so much for joining us. It's back to school. So what does back to school look like for you as an elite athlete?
As an athlete, back to school looks a little bit daunting, and I'm going to have to do a lot of juggling in the near future. But it's not a designated time period. It's not like the August or Labor Day. It's more like in the summer, I'm going to be adding more classes and taking on more of a workload. And then in the winter, when we get back into the routine travel and racing schedule, I'll probably lay it down to 1 or maybe 0 classes.
I know going into Paris, a lot of our student athletes took that whole semester off, that whole spring semester off.
I know, I can't decide because I know I'm not going to be wanting to do school. But the thought of taking a term off and then like setting myself back on my graduation date is annoying. And but there's a lot of other factors, like the last Olympics, the Wi-Fi was really terrible and I couldn't hardly get on Google. Just things like that would make it really hard. So there's a lot of variables to consider, but luckily I still have a couple months.
What did high school look like for you as you got more involved with luge, especially as you started traveling internationally? Because you went to Youth Olympic Games when you were like 16, right?
Yeah, I did in Norway. That was actually super fun. But once I started traveling more, my school had a pretty strict attendance policy and they couldn't keep me enrolled. So what I would do is I would go to school for quarter 1 and then fully drop out for quarters 2 and 3 and then re-enroll for quarter 4, which was a lot of work, but it was the best option for me because I wanted to be in school as much as I could because online classes were so hard for me. I had like no discipline. I would be like, why would I ever want to do homework right now? I'm literally in Germany. Like, So I knew that that was what was going to work the best. And then I could also have like a more normal high school experience when I was there. But the only classes I took in, especially my last 2 years of high school, were semester long classes. So I could take them quarters 1 and 4 as opposed to 1 and 2 or 3 and 4. And then core classes. And with my core classes, I would take quarters 2 and 3 online. So it was like I hadn't missed anything. I would just jump right back in.
Did you ever use summer school to catch up
I
or get
didn't.
ahead?
I would take some classes in the summer, but it was more of a catch up thing. It was me like failing my last class and being like, oh darn, guess I have to do it again. But in our world, because the only start facility in the US is in Lake Placid, and I grew up in Park City, in the summer we would have summer camps that were weeks long where we would come and pull starts every day. So I would kind of miss the same amount of school either way. And growing up in Park City, they actually had a winter school where they would go to school through like April through November and then have the winter off. And that was also technically an option for me, but I would just also be gone a ton. So it didn't really make sense. But yeah, I took some summer classes, but it was just because I was behind.
Now, were you in high school in Utah or New York?
In Utah. I graduated from Park City High.
When did you know you wanted to pursue an elite athlete career?
I've always been an athlete, but I was kind of caught up between luge and softball for a long time. And I played softball all through high school, and it was always so fun for me. And I wasn't good enough to go like D1 or anything, but I was considering going to like a junior college or maybe a D3 to play softball. But then I made the Olympic like selection team for the 2018 Olympics, and I was like, it's kind of way cooler. I'm going to go with that.
And how old were you at that point?
I was 17, but softball was so fun. And like I think about what my life would have been like if I had chosen to go to college. But my mom and my grandpa were both very much like, you could do whatever you want and college will always be there. And lucky enough for me, they were right. But yeah, that's kind of how I ended up on the luge team.
Well, it's interesting to have the dual sport element and I could go to college and play sport, or I could do something else and perhaps go to the Olympics. When did you have to pull the trigger and make the final decision? Were you actively looking into colleges at the time, or not as much?
When I was a junior in high school, my softball coach was kind of like, you can totally make some videos and apply and you would get in. And that's something to think about. And I did think about it, and I looked at a couple of Utah schools and I thought about it. And then, I don't know, I spent so much time when I was a kid watching the Olympics, and Park City is so like steeped in like Olympic spirit and winter sports, and like just having the opportunity to start luge to begin with felt like something that I couldn't really let go of. So I mostly ended up choosing luge because I thought that I would like it more in the long run and I would have more fun, and like, I don't know, the college softball path felt like something that I would enjoy still, but also something that I felt like I was giving something up to pick that. And when I thought about picking luge, I didn't have that same feeling.
I think it's interesting that you said before that you are not disciplined about school, but obviously as an elite athlete, you have to be very disciplined with all the things you do. So how does that not translate between school and sport?
Well, when I was younger, I think I would do something and I would be good at it, and everyone would go, oh, you're so good at that. And I never really felt like I had to try to do anything. I would just do it and it would be enough to get me by. And then when I started not having such a structured school experience, and I had to actually figure out how to manage my own time and carve out bits and pieces here and there throughout my day to do school, it was something I really struggled with, and I did not want to do it. So it was just like a really big learning process, especially those last 2 years of high school. I think I'm much better now because my whole life revolves around more of a structure. And when I like fall out of my routines and my habits, whether it's school or training or recovery, it's something that I feel immediately. And I'm like, oh yeah, I got to get back. I got to start going back to bed earlier, or I have to like get my nutrition back. So it's just like every time I fall out of habit now, there's a strict reminder about why I do that. But when I was in high school, I would be like, no, I'm not going to do my math. And the worst thing that would happen was that I would just have to try again later. So I guess my consequences weren't really enough for me to want to learn from my actions back then.
And that has to be hard because if you're traveling around Europe and it's your first time going over there and you just want to see everything and
I
experience
know.
everything and
Like, I'm not going to
map
be
and a
like, no, I
hotel
don't want
room.
to go walk around. I have homework to do. Like,
What is
Very
it?
normal for the
Yes.
age as well.
Yeah, but
You're not 16 anymore. And so, maturity
yeah.
helps in these situations.
well, and you've been to all these tracks many times now. So
hmm
has the novelty worn off about like, oh hey, I'm going to Latvia again?
Sometimes yes, but I would say mostly no. Because it's at this point, it feels like almost homey because I've spent so much time in these places and I feel like, I can't wait to go to that bakery or that coffee shop again. Like, oh, I missed it here, which is it's pretty cool.
When did you start thinking about life after Luge? Because that with the online college coming into play here.
So I've like right after I graduated high school, I started I think it was that next summer. So like summer of 2018, I started taking classes online through Salt Lake Community College, and just because it was like easy and very flexible and fit my budget, so I was like I'm just going to start taking like slowly knocking them down. And that was really hard for me cuz I was like I don't care. It wasn't something that was a priority for me at the time, and I was mostly doing it to just try and get it done, and I had no sort of direction, and I was just like, okay, great. I guess I'll go write another about me. Like, but now having the offer of free and being older and knowing more about what I want to do after sport, it feels a lot easier. And like it's still hard at times, but I have more focus and direction on what I'm actually doing. So it's just a more productive system. And my credits did transfer, so it wasn't the worst thing in the world what I was doing. It was just,
But that's hard because in a way it sounds like you're doing it because, well, this is what I'm supposed to do, even if you don't know what you want
yeah.
to do with it. And it's kind of like, well, let me check this box. And once you checked all the boxes, you're like, oh, hey, I got this degree.
Yeah, so I think because I didn't really have a clear idea of what I wanted or how to get there, I was just kind of in the moment. And at the time, I was still going for my first Olympics, and that was my main goal. And the older I get, especially, and the more I can feel like how the sport wears on your body and the more time I need to spend recovering, I'm like, okay, I should probably start planning. So that was also a catalyst, just like, I guess, just being older and wiser and having more of an idea of what I want my future to look like.
Is that something that veteran athletes talk to younger athletes about what happens next? Is that a subject that comes up among the athletes?
It's talked about a lot, but I would say more so in like a Team USA setting. Like Team USA has a lot of resources for athletes who are retiring, and every time we have a convention or a so and so for all the athletes, there'll be lots of like webinars or symposiums or something to do with like how to move on or how to get internships or how to enhance your degree or use your status as an Olympian or a professional athlete to help you in like a business setting. But among my teammates, it doesn't really get talked about that much.
It's interesting because it's kind of like you've been around long enough that you've seen people retire. What happens in that moment when people retire and you're like, oh, I saw you every day and now maybe I don't see you as much?
It's like a little bit bittersweet because most people retire to be with their family or because they're not having fun anymore and they need a change. But it is hard not seeing them. Like my friend Brittany Arndt, we actually started Luge on the exact same day in the same after school program. And she retired 2 years ago. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? We've been roommates for 11 years. But I still see her and we still talk. And it's so nice to see the athletes have retired, like start families and start businesses and really find their footing in like regular life, so to speak.
Right, because not that many jobs in luge, I would imagine, if you're not
No.
luging.
Yeah. There's actually this funny poster In the women's start house at the Park City track, which has not been updated or renovated since the Olympics, there's a poster that says, "Nice resume, but can you luge?" And then it's like an ad for a job agency.
What was the catalyst for choosing to go to school now?
The cost. I think that, especially in today's world, the ability, or I guess opportunity, to go to school for free is virtually unheard of. And I really couldn't let that pass me by. And when I had, I guess it was about this time last year, and maybe in April or so, they sent out an email that's like an email blast to every single athlete. And it's usually just like boring, random updates. And I usually just delete them. And then one of my teammates sent a message in our team group chat and was like, so excited. Like, I can't believe this is real. I feel like I'm dreaming. Everybody has to go check their emails right now. And I was like, what could possibly be so exciting in the Team USA monthly update? But then it was like, oh, we're announcing this partnership. And I was like, oh, yeah, that is cool. So I clicked the link. And it's like, make an account to view your available degrees and see like what you qualify for. So I do. And I just sorted it by fully funded bachelor's degrees, and there was 30 options, and I'm just scrolling through them. And then I see on all of the Purdue majors, it says that the application is due today. And I was like, oh, snap. Like, I guess I'm going to go then. I'm just going to do it. Free college. Let's go. So I'm like calling my mom. I'm like, should I be an engineer? She's like, girl, no. Like, like pick something normal that you would like. So I picked business admin. I applied. And then like 2 days later, I got an email from Guild and Purdue University saying that I was the first athlete to apply, which cracked me up because I was like, well, I thought I had to. And then now that I'm in the program, I know that they start a term literally every 4 weeks. So it probably says due today every single day. But now I'm in it, and I'm a year in. It's going great.
What do you think of being a Boilermaker?
It's
I'm
cool.
sitting in Indiana right now, so hey.
Oh my gosh, really? That's funny. I think it's fun. It was never something that had crossed my mind that I would ever be, you know? Because growing up in Utah, I mean, I guess probably growing up everywhere, they want you to go to a state school so bad, and there's so much like college pride. And so I always, especially before I started Luge and whatnot, kind of pictured myself just going to the University of Utah, like all my friends were going to do, and like going that route. So it's like a total wild card, but so far it's been great.
What has doing this program done in terms of the athlete's life can be very, very small. You know, you have a small group of people, you have a small, you go to the same places. What has being in college at the same time kind of done for your perspective?
I guess beyond just taking a lot of free time away, I would say it's like I spend a lot of time trying to decentralize athlete from my identity so that I don't tie my results into my self-worth. So it really helps with that, and it helps like shift my focus and give me something else to think about, especially in season when it feels like that's your entire world, and every single day you're thinking about your next race and how to best set yourself up and how to train best and blah blah blah. And then you're like, oh, I actually have to write an essay, and it's not about anything to do with this. So in some ways it can be really helpful to just have something else to do and to think about. But of course, the other side of that is like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm too busy. I cannot write an essay right now. But I would say it's a give and a take. But I mostly think that it's helpful.
What is your class schedule like?
You usually take 2 classes, and they're 10-week terms. And then once a week for an hour, you have the option of attending a live seminar where you just meet with your professor with like, I don't know, 30 or so other students and go over the week's lesson and assignments, and you can ask questions and whatnot. But if you can't go to one of those, they have pre-recorded seminars that you can also watch. So it's kind of whatever you want it to be.
So what was it like adjusting to an online only program?
It was hard, but it always has been for me. And I have a lot of experience with it. And so I think I just had to change my mindset going in And when I decided to apply the very first day they released it, I was just kind of like, I can't give up on it this time. And I have got to see this through. And I knew that I had some credits to transfer and that it would make it easier. But the Purdue Global program it's like so chill. They have like really relaxed late policies. All the professors have been really cool and understanding. In like 1 hour a week that I don't even have to be there. Like the time requirement's pretty limited. So that has made it really easy.
So you grew up in Park City where everybody kind of knows what luge is, and now you're attending a school where do your professors know what luge is? Do your fellow students understand what you're doing?
Yeah, I get like caught up on if I even want to talk about it or not because sometimes in like the first week of every class you have to they always want you to write like a little intro and oh, this is me, this is where I live, this is my major. And I feel like I don't want to talk about it because it feels gloaty. Like I'm like, oh yes, I'm an Olympian, I'm going to college for free and blah, blah, blah. Like, but at the same time, it's such a big part of my life, and a lot of our discussion posts focus on personal stories or like relate this back to your life or talk about a time in your life when this happened. And it's like, well, now we are in it no matter what. Sometimes, I mean, the truth comes out eventually all the time, and most people think it's cool. But I would say it's like 60-40 on people being like, oh, you do luge, blah, 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 and they have like 1,000 questions, which I love. And then some people are like, okay.
We
What's the-
feel that.
We feel that because we hear what do you talk about
Yeah,
on the show when the games aren't happening.
that's funny.
Well, Ashley Farquharson, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us about school and about
Yeah,
luge. We will be following along and cheering you from afar.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashley. We will have Ashley back on to talk all things luge later this fall. In the meantime, you can follow her on Instagram and TikTok. She is at far.quar.son, and quar is Quhar. On Facebook, she is facebook.com/farquadstarsquad. And we will have links to all of those in the show notes. I'm sure those are fun. Those are fun follows.
The sliding hooligans are all over the place on her photos. Una vacanza in Italia.
Oh, see. The news from Milano-Cortina this week is really an interview with Will Whiston from On Location. If you remember, we talked with Will ahead of Paris 2024. If you did any of the On Location packages, you will know what we're talking about. They are the official hospitality provider for the Olympics. Will is the executive vice president of On Location, and he checked in with us to let us know what On Location has planned for Milano-Cortina 2026. Take a listen. Will Whiston from On Location, welcome back to the show.
Hi, ladies. Thank you for having me back. This is, I think I told you before, but the last time we did this before Paris was a blast. So I was waiting for the invite.
Speaking of Paris, how did it go from your perspective? What did your guests say? What kind of things did you learn for future games?
So, Paris was an incredible moment for our organization, but importantly for our guests, which is what drives our whole team and why we do it. But Paris, in terms of the reviews, in terms of the quality of execution and service, how we made it a seamless execution for what was, as we all know, an incredible Olympics. We were really proud and thrilled to really bring it to life and make it that much better an experience. In terms of those reviews, if we consolidate all the feedback, one is we help make sense of the Olympic ecosystem in Paris. We help make sense of how you go, made it not daunting for the guest to even try to figure out how to go, how to build an experience that allowed someone to make sense of, as you ladies know, like there's so many sporting events going on at the exact same time. How do you not have FOMO saying, how am I missing out on this or missing out on that? How do you pick the right things to go to? Our guests said that was just an amazing addition to the Olympic experience, being able to make it seamless and not stressful. And the service levels in terms of the culinary experience and bringing out the best of Paris within the sports venue and outside of it was the other main highlight that guests raved about. And a lot of them said, we want to go to the future games with you. So we're excited to do that for them.
I will say that I did notice when I was waiting for different athletic sessions to start, I saw some of the track tours where people got to go down on the track and everyone looked so excited. Did you see that, Alison?
I did.
Those are my favorite moments. I mean, Olympics or otherwise, because I've been in this company for longer than I'd like to admit, and maybe my age wouldn't indicate it. But being at Super Bowls and other events, the best moments are those surprise and delight, those special moments that are priceless. Literally, you can't put a price on it, and there isn't a price. But seeing guests holding the baton, standing on the track, on that purple track, was just like, that's why we do it.
And speaking of future games, what do you have for Milano-Cortina?
Well, Milano-Cortina, we're just as excited for, if not more, because now we've done a Summer Games. This is like doing a new event for us. The Winter Olympics are a different animal, a different level of excitement, and affords different opportunities. It's kind of like a new palette to work off of, especially in Milan. I mean, Paris, we had an incredible cultural underpinning that we could pull out. As we all know, Italy has the exact same cultural underpinning, especially in the north. So the variety of locations up in the Dolomites, in Cortina and Livigno, and then what Milan affords is allowed us to get really creative in those experiences. Also, and that's from a cultural point of view, but also what some people don't realize is for a Winter Games, there's a lot more temporary venues, whether it's skiing or snowboarding or otherwise, and outdoor venues where there's build out, which affords us the opportunity to do things like what we did in Paris for beach volleyball, building a champagne bar on top of the venue and an overhang between the Eiffel Tower and the competition, which all of our guests said was something they'd never even dreamed of before. These temporary builds for these venues allows us to get creative like that and build those new experiences. So that's what I'm really excited for as well.
One of the big challenges for Milan is those many, many venues that are very far apart. So how are you handling that in terms of putting different sites together in the packages?
Yeah, I mean, what I've told my team and our mantra for a while is the best experience is the simplest logistical experience for our guests. Our guests range from couples who want to go because they're Olympic fans to families. I mean, frankly, we've sold in over 70 countries at this point, so we have guests from everywhere. But when you look at the U.S. fan base, this is also a school holiday, so there's a lot of families coming with us and making the most of it. And there's, of course, the corporate element of it. But a lot of this is a vacation, combining a vacation with an Olympic experience. So how we've created a more holistic experience is by creating waves. So, 2 days in Milano for competition, maybe see preliminary stages of figure skating and short track, and then 2 days in Livigno, and then 2 days in Cortina, and then back to Milan. So someone can see all of Northern Italy and see this variety of sports. That's how we've made the most sense of it in terms of a guest experience. Underpinning that, we have hundreds of team members, hundreds of vehicles that are going to be well coordinated through our operations center, making sure that our guests have seamless stops in each part of Northern Italy. I will say, between Cortina and Livigno, what's amazing is, and this is where I think our guests are going to just be in awe, is one, the surroundings in the Dolomites. I mean, you're up in some of the most beautiful mountain ranges in the world. It's not like there's Marriotts and Park Hyatts on the main street. These are all chalets. And we've sourced thousands of nights worth of rooms at chalets and smaller bed and breakfasts. So it's going to be a very authentic experience. And I'm personally excited to see our guests be amazed by this almost quaint and authentic experience, and then walking through the village over to, the finish line of downhill skiing.
You talked about some temporary venues and having different unique kind of build outs. Can you share some of those with us? What kind of environments are you planning?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously we have the weather element, more so in the Winter Games, so everything needs cover. But it's allowed us, I'll give you two examples. So for downhill skiing, men's and women's, we're able to create hospitality experiences that are indoor, of course, warm, comfort, food, hot chocolate if you like, near the finish line, but also with the access and a guided walk up the slope so you can see multiple parts of the race. We also have snowcats that can bring guests up the slope to the sides. So again, I mean, if you're there for a session of downhill, you can see some athletes at the finish line, which is where a lot of spectators are, as you know. But then you can also change your vantage point and see it at, you know, the last turn or the middle of the downhill, which you get to see the speed and just raw intensity of that. The other one I will mention, which is I might be most excited for, is in half pipe for snowboarding, where we've been able to, again, afforded by the fact that these venues are things developed for these purposes, and we can make them somewhat bespoke. Some of our top guests will be able to go to actually be along the starting gate. So people will be able to see the athletes getting prepared with their coaches, warming up. Also, that moment where they're standing there on their board, you know, just waiting, trying to be calm, and then see them go down the half pipe from the top, not the bottom, from the top, with the backdrop of the village. That's one that I might have to go join a couple times.
Because that half pipe is huge. It is so impressive how big it is. You don't realize how big it is on TV.
You don't appreciate that, and then you realize how big it is in person. You realize the speed they're gathering to get that sort of height. It's insane.
Okay, Will, I had this idea. I'll lay it on you. For
All right.
2030, can they build a half pipe that has a viewing room on the inside? So you see people. Wouldn't that be cool, Alison? You see
That is
people from inside the
good.
half pipe.
Inside the half pipe.
But it has to be covered in snow.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's no. Well, I mean, like there's got to be technology to have clear ice.
Yeah, I mean, now that you mention it, first off, we might have to do a brainstorming session with our whole team because I love this idea. Second off, I mean, we've got to bring you into these design meetings because it's great. I mean, for LA 28, that's something we are exploring as well. I think people know now. I mean, we've known and been preparing for a while that swimming will be in SoFi Stadium.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh, can you watch watch artistic swimming from underneath?
Well, and so with the pool, I mean, obviously the pool is going to be, the deck is going to be at the first and flush with the first, lowest row, the first row, excuse me. So there are ground level suites beneath that. So that would have field view. So I'd be lying to you if I said we have not been asking, hey, can we get some sort of clear view to look? Now, who knows? But those are the kind of things that get afforded by these incredible venues.
Well, we do have a friend at Mirtha Pools who will likely be providing the pools for that event. So we'll see what we can do to hook you up, Will.
The big thing is we do not want, and this is a principle that we really abide by, because we throw out some crazy ideas to our friends in each of the organizing committees and with the IOC. But we do really respect what is the first principle, which is we cannot interrupt or distract the field of play. So that's why you mentioned before in Paris, we had guests down on the track between sessions. Basketball, we've endeavored to do something similar in and around sessions. But we really have to focus in spots where we know it doesn't interrupt warm-up, competition, or immediately post-session.
We hear you. Okay, we have not talked about food. This is an important part of Italy, I would think.
Oh,
so how is Italian cuisine getting incorporated into these packages?
Italian cuisine is I wouldn't say the sport event itself always is the base. That's why people are coming, right? But the Italian culture and the service, meaning just the friendliness of Italy, is a close second, if not a tie. And that's where, by the way, there's different cuisine in different parts of Italy, and these games are spread out enough to where Milanese food is slightly different from what Cortina does near the Austrian border or Livigno near the Swiss border. So we're working with local caterers through and restaurants through each of those regions to bring authentic cuisine from each of those locations for those sporting events. The pasta in each and every one of those is incredible. I may have taste tested myself.
I was going to ask, how hard was that trip?
That was it didn't feel like work, let's put it that way. But it's we've really put that at the base, and we have a team of hundreds in Milan, from native to Italy, also with Olympic experience. And that's something that the whole organization, as well as the organizing committee of the games, take a lot of pride in. So the food and beverage and the culinary experience is going to be off the charts. And champagne was big in Paris, and now it's Prosecco.
Can't go wrong.
I know if there's Prosecco involved, I am there. I did see at the beach volleyball the people on the patio with the champagne, and I remember thinking, "Wait, how did they get there?" And of course it was on location. It was a beautiful spot. So that is something to look forward to for Milan as well. Some really special.
Yeah, well, we're on
viewing
audio
spots.
only here, I think. But if we got to get you guys a picture. You've seen it, but I give people a sense of what we're talking about. It was right under the Eiffel Tower, and that was some of the highest reviewed experiences that we developed. But this all goes back to what our goal is and what our mission is, and why we're doing what we're doing in the Olympics is to simplify the experience, enhance the experience, make you feel part of the competition and at the center of the world, which is what the Olympics are, the center of the world at that for those 2 weeks, and to make sure that people are carefree and enjoying as authentically as possible and as close to the action as possible. Our company's logo is closer than ever. We're bringing people as close to it in a way that they can have unforgettable moments. And that's what our hundreds of thousands of guests in Paris all came back saying.
Are you doing the club thing again?
Yes, Clubhouse. So now
Clubhouse will be
we're carrying forward. And so for those listeners maybe not as familiar, we created a new concept, which was Clubhouse 24 in Paris, right in the center of the competitions. A large fan hospitality with a huge screen with Parisian lawn chairs, food and beverage experience, and also the Olympic Museum transported there, literally transplanted in the middle of Paris so people could see the history and feel the history of the Olympics. That was a rave review. It was opened by President Bach. He inaugurated that space. I believe the new president will also be doing the same in Milan with Clubhouse 26, which we are deploying to 3 of the main clusters between Milano-Cortina and Lavinia. We're carrying forward the exact same spirit of the location, which is extending the Olympic experience outside of the venue. So when someone's session's over at name a sport, whether it's ice hockey or otherwise, the day's not done. Their incredible Olympic dream of a day is not done. And we're also at the Olympic Museum in partnership with them. We're bringing the same type of artifacts to the spaces to make this unforgettable as well.
Did the IOC ask you for anything in particular for next year with any of the packages? Did they say, we really want to see you do X?
Well, the IOC has been incredible partners, and that's why, I mean, for everyone's benefit, we do this in partnership. We create these experiences and these programs in partnership with the International Olympic Committee. They've been incredible partners in that they really believe in and have seen the power of making the Olympics more accessible and more seamless to access, I should say. Also, the fact that we're able to help make it a much more official and secure experience because we're displacing and creating a better experience than maybe third parties like ticket brokers who are selling tickets and some additional elements. And I'll take this moment to just remind everyone to beware of those secondary market actors and that we are the only secure place to get any sort of hospitality or travel packages. But back to your question, the IOC, they've really leaned in on one, pushing for these special venue accesses we've spoken about, being able to bring that out more, whether it's field to play access in and around an event or venue adaptations to make it the best experience possible. They're hyper focused on bringing out local culture because while the Olympics is the Olympics, they're believers in why it rotates. They've also, I mean, Clubhouse 26 is just an idea that we blossomed together, and now they really want to take it to the next level. So we've seen them be fantastic partners on all fronts and give us the access, importantly, that makes it a totally differentiated experience from just a ticket.
Well, if you ever get inspired to make a little experience for two American podcast ladies who would love a driver and some Prosecco. Just throwing it out there, Will.
Rachel and I will talk.
Oh man, what's been selling well? What have people? Which things are you got to jump on before you miss out?
First off, in terms of what we've seen in demand and interest, it's been across the globe. I mean, our top selling countries include obviously U.S. and Canada, all Scandinavia, the UK, which we saw in Paris and it's carrying through in Milan, all the way to Australia and New Zealand, where I mean they have specialists in some of in whether it's freestyle skiing or aerials. So we've seen incredible interest across the world. By the way, we launched the first ever deposit campaign right after Paris for those interested in Milan and who wanted to be first in line. We had thousands upon thousands of people sign up for that, which there's never been a program like that before for an Olympics. And to see that for Winter Games right after Summer Games was just spectacular and shows the interest. In terms of the sports, we have seen, it's the typical big Winter Olympic sports, obviously always stand out in volume, whether it's ice hockey, figure skating, of course. We're figure skating for a number of sessions. There's very limited availability now. And we're just entering the most in-demand period in Europe, in our opinion, starting in September. And of course, the medal sessions in skiing. But I will say what's been incredible is biathlon in that region is something that's received a lot of interest. The opening ceremony at San Siro, as always, the opening ceremony is something that locally people take a lot of pride in. We have very limited availability in opening ceremony, which I think is going to be unbelievable with the cultural aspect and the focus on this ceremony that the organizing committee is bringing. So we're seeing demand across the board. Oh, and I forgot. Snowboarding, which I mentioned before, the half pipe. That event is through the roof in terms of interest. That's in all these sports that I mentioned, or most of them at least, the dry ticket sales are almost sold out for the prime sessions. And we have seen, obviously, the similar demand. So now's the time to jump on it.
Well, we know where the party's at in every sport now. It's where the On Location.
Just find that sign. Just find the guy with that sign.
I'll have to get you, find Jill and Alison.
Well, we get lost all the time. So
I know when you were
find us.
I know when Will was saying, he's like, "Oh, we make sure everything is seamless." I'm like, "Oh, we could have used that."
Could use that all the time. Oh, well, Will, thank you so much for joining us again. We're really excited to see what you do for Milano-Cortina and hear all about it. And I'm looking forward to seeing the participants get to do their thing in the field of play or on the sidelines.
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing Winter Olympics. As I said, it's the first time back in Europe in a long time. And Italy's always been special. Torino was special as a Winter Olympics, and Milano-Cortina is going to be that and more. So to both of you, my friends, thank you for having me back. And I look forward to being on again in the future. Hopefully, might need to get you an invite to Milano-Cortina to get that invite back, but we'll see.
All right.
We'll see, Will.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Will. We'll have a link to On Location's offerings in the show notes. I'm still hoping about that in the half pipe. View the half pipe from in the half pipe situation.
I just want to walk the half pipe. Like, I really want to do that package. I take my glass of Prosecco and walk up and down the half pipe. Come on. Come on. That sounds glorious.
It would be, the experiences they do put together sound amazing.
My birthday's next month.
Oh, there you go. There you go. All right, we have a little bit of news from LA 2028. The organizing committee is hoping to change the diving venue. So in the original 2017 plan, they put diving in the 1932 pool in the Exposition Park zone. However, over the last year, World Aquatics kindly said, hey, the pool is not going to meet standards. It's not wide enough. It's not deep enough. The diving towers are improperly oriented to the sun because this is an outdoor venue. And there's not enough clearance behind the towers anymore. So if they were going to make this pool compliant with what World Aquatics now requires in a venue. And I'm sure it was way different back in the day being at least 84 if that was the same pool. But for sure, 1932, that venue would have needed a complete reconstruction. It is also in the same zone as the LA Memorial Coliseum, which means they are also getting some reconstruction going on, and it's not big enough to have two construction projects in that same footprint at the same time.
And also, one of the things LA was really focusing on was no new construction. And even though this is an existing venue, they were going to have to take it back to the studs and start over. So they very smartly said, let's see if there's another pool in the neighborhood.
Yes, and that is a problem because there wasn't another pool in LA. So they went a little further afield. They found one in Pasadena,
which already has events.
Yes, and it's the Rose Bowl Aquatic Center. So now they have to get written permission from LA city government to move the venue out of LA and into Pasadena. So they think that this move is going to give them $8.2 million more in revenue because they'll be able to sell more tickets than the other venue. They will be able to save $12 million on infrastructure costs. Gonna cost $2.6 million more to run the venue in Pasadena than it would to run the 1932 pool, but they are still $17.6 million in the black.
And then they're also saying it will reduce congestion at the other events in the Exposition Park zone, which I think is a little bit of lipstick on the pig. Like, I think they're trying to, that little fact made me feel like, oh, they're really trying to sell it, because the rest of it makes perfect sense. And we've moved a few things the last time a new venue plan came out from LA, from one host city to a friend host city. They're kind of referring to these multiple host cities. So it doesn't seem like this is going to be a fight. Nobody seems to be, I didn't see a lot of chit chat in response to this proposal.
No, and I bet part of the reason that it's going to be easier to let that go is because LA 2028 is still in discussions with the LA Department of Parks and Rec to make improvements to the 1932 pool that would have been part of the legacy of them hosting. So they may still put some money into making that a better pool for the community, which that's all good. And yeah, I'm curious to know how much congestion it would have caused, because there are a bunch of sports in that zone. Is it now, how much does operational stuff take? Like, we looked at when we were in Paris, just the amount of tents in between Eiffel Tower and Champ de Mars, which were pretty close, but like there was a whole huge section that was off limits to the public because that was dressing rooms and doping controls and canteens and volunteer stuff and all of these other tents that you had to have to run the show. So is it just too complex as well? We also have a mountain biking venue now.
So now I know where to find you on those days.
Yeah, well, we haven't seen mountain biking, and it is on my list to see.
I know.
I'm curious. Yeah. So, well, okay. So maybe I don't know, because we're talking about mountain biking. So this will be in a hilly area.
And LA certainly has a lot of hilly areas they could choose from.
They could. They've chosen Industry Hills, and this will be in the City of Industry zone in LA County. The course is going to be next to the Pacific Palms Resort. Place is naturally hilly, so they're going to use that and make a broader site improvement that will be part of Games Legacy. I'm just worried about getting on the wrong side of the mountain.
The other side of the mountain?
Not the movie. As I said that, I'm just seeing myself wandering around trying to find where I'm supposed to go and just getting lost.
Are you still
hopelessly lost?
Are you still traumatized from your Beijing mountain? Well, both of our Beijing mountain situations.
Yeah, that was pretty rough.
Yeah.
I mean, granted this will be in English.
Yeah. And our phones will work and all those things.
Yeah.
Just bring a flare gun with you.
Get that on the plane. Yeah, right.
Yeah, get that past security. That'll work.
Anyway, the last cycling venue Anyway, we still have one more cycling venue announcement to come, and that is the full road race route and finish venue, as well as time trials information. So we'll look for that soon.
Welcome to Shekflastan.
It is the time of the show where we check in with our team, keep the flame alive. These are past guests and listeners of the show who make up our citizenship of our very own country, Shekflastan.
We got a lot this week, starting with para ice hockey player Monica Quimby and Team USA beat Canada 7-1 to win the first ever women's para ice hockey world championships. Brooke Nunemaker was part of the game's officiating crew, and Brad Roethlisberger was one of the supervisors. So all our friends were there enjoying what looked to be an amazing first world championships.
Yes. Pole vaulter Katie Moon won the Diamond League final. Katie, hammer thrower Deanna Price, and sprinter Kenny Bednarek will all be repping Team USA at the World Athletics World Championships in Tokyo on September 13th through 21. Like, I realize that's finally here. Just about like, oh, it's coming. It's going to be. And like, wait a second. That's enough. It's like next week. Just about. Anyway, also going as part of Team Canada is race walker Evan Dunphy, who will be the top seed in the 35-kilometer race walk. This is his 7th championships, and for the first time, he's also going as a coach, coaching his Paris 2024 relay partner, Olivia Lundman.
Paracyclist Samantha Bosco won silver in the C4 individual road race, and Grace Norman, usually a triathlete, but she won silver in the C4 individual time trial at the UCI Paracycling Road World Championships.
Cyclist Mandy Marquardt won gold in the sprint, gold in an American record in the kilo time trial, and bronze in the Keirin at the 2025 USA Cycling Elite Track National Championships.
Team Schuster won curling's 2025 Oslo Cup, defeating Team Eden in the gold medal match 7-2.
Wheelchair tennis players Charlie Cooper and David Wagner are playing in the U.S. Open this week. David lost in the first round, 3-6, 3-6 to Gonzalo Enrique Lazarte. And Charlie Cooper is playing in his first men's Grand Slam tournament. Hold on, I have to refresh because he is playing as we record. Not looking good. Oh my gosh. Okay, so he got the short end of the draw and is playing Alfie Hewitt, one of your faves.
And one of the best in the world.
Yes. So right now, as we speak, the score is Alfie Hewitt winning. He took the first set 6-0 and now is winning 3-1 in the second. So Charlie got a game.
Okay, good. I was worried about him getting blanked because this is Charlie's first time with the men. So I'm so excited for him, though. This is the beginning.
So excited.
Archer Casey Caulfield is competing at the 53rd Hyundai World Archery Championships in Gwangju, South Korea, September 5th through the 12th.
Para swimmers Olivia Chambers and Jessica Long have been named to Team USA's roster for the World Para Swimming Championships.
Greco-Roman wrestler Alejandro Sancho will be competing at the 2025 Senior World Championships in Zagreb, Croatia, from September 13th to the 21st.
And congratulations to fencer Alexander Macialis, who was elected to the FIE Hall of Fame.
Well deserved.
Phew, Shekflastan has been busy.
And it's only going to get busier. September's got a lot of world championships and World Cup starting, and yeah, lots of results coming through.
Exactly. So be sure to follow along in our Facebook group, Keep the Flame Alive podcast. We will be chatting there. I'm excited because after World Games, I had the World Games let down. Like, oh, it got quiet. Nothing's going on.
Do I need to come over and shoot fireworks in the shape of a tree outside your house?
Oh, I would love that.
Ballroom dance. I will come over and I will ballroom dance in the driveway.
Oh, we'll see what they say about that. What else are they saying about the show?
So Low Dandy on Apple Podcasts left us a lovely review, and part of it reads, "Who knew that two librarians could create such an amazing show about the Olympics and Paralympics? You won't hear the same sport content you hear everywhere else."
Aw, that's sweet. Thank you, Lo. If you would like to hear your name here, leave us a review on your podcast app of choice, or check out all the other ways to get in touch with us in the episode details. Follow us on social at Flame Alive Pod, and be part of our Facebook group. We have a ton of fun there. It's going to be, I cannot wait for Winter Sports Talk to start there. Everyone is so fun.
Sled hockey.
Okay, that is going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening.
And until next time, keep the flame alive.